The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade.
Welcome to The Unfiltered by Jade, where we get out of the box and dive into topics that are sidelined. I look forward to entertain, educate, and inspire. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, donate, and make everybody know about this. Shopping Assistance Jamaica takes the stress away. Our services include online and local shopping in Jamaica for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, helping you to find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195. Shopping Assistance 2015 at gmail.com. Follow Shopping Assistance on Instagram at Shopping Assist JA, at Twitter at Shopping Assist 5, and Facebook at The Shopping Assistance. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget.
Beats by RB Records, a proud sponsor of The Unfiltered by Jade.
Hello, my name is Steve Lawrence, and I'll be sharing with you some thoughts, some tips as we enter 2021. Now, I've been involved in education, development, training, IT, and so many other fields for the last at least 25 years. And there's some things that have worked, there's some things that have not worked very well, and there's some things that I really have gained so much from, if not fiscally, developmentally, or even both. Now, like any good teacher, I have a plan of focus, a lesson plan, a lesson outline, a set of objectives. And there are 4 things we're going to be looking at during our exchange. We're going to be looking at targeting, improving, performance, and strategy. Tips 2021. Now, humans are a targeting species. If you check the entire animal kingdom, it will be difficult to find a species that is more targeted. At our very core, in how our cells operate and how our subsystems function, we require targets for us to maximally achieve outcomes. So if you want to see a human being succeed, give them attainable targets. Give them something to aim at, something to pour their energy, their passions in, something to apply their intellect to. And they, in many circumstances, will grow maximally or perform very well because they're able to target and acquire said target. Now, what does that mean? It means that in almost every aspect of your life, you need to spend time figuring out, what is it am I trying to achieve? What do I intend to do? What do I intend to gain? By doing this kind of activity, you begin to target, you begin to figure out, what are my aims? In the business world, sometimes we call them SMART, where it's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's relevant, and it's time-bound or timely. But even if we're not putting it in that kind of conceptual framework, it's important for us to figure out, where are we going? Because that determines, how do you use your resources? How do you use your time? How do you apply your intellect? Who do you need to onboard to be a part of your project? Who needs to be a part of the discussion? Who needs to be in the loop of communication for you to achieve that intended goal? So if you're looking at buying a house, it's wonderful to have that goal, but you might have to figure out, do I need to sit with a financial advisor? Do I need to sit with a mortgage broker? Do I need to sit with a real estate agent? You may need to include all of these at different aspects, at different stages of your planning process. And it's all a part of targeting. Because what it means is, you not only have a goal in sight, but you realize there are resources that you need to commit or organize or sequence in a way for you to achieve your target. The second thing we're looking at is improvement. Now, one of the most important things about improvement as a consideration is that it first starts by allowing you to accept that you are not perfect. You don't have all the cards. You don't have control of all the systems and the rules and subsystems. It infers reliance. And that's very important because societies are built around exchange and networks and interactions and reliance. And if you recognize that you don't have all the resources that are required to achieve most of the things you want to target, that's a very good place to start. That's exactly why people take courses. They go into programs of study. They go into mentorship, training, coaching. That's why people read and explore and spend time practicing. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're in the movie production business, whether you do online sales, whether you do physical retail sales, if you're an engineer, if you're a medical practitioner, whatever it is your vocation, if you accept that you're not all that you can be maximally, that's a very good place for you to figure out what are the things, what are the learning gaps, what are the holes that I need to fill in my own development to make me more clinical, make me more effective, more efficient in my response to my targets. So improving not only speaks to your self-development, but also if you're responsible for teams or you work with people, it's good for you to also figure out how can you contribute to their growth, to their development. Because when you help others grow, I think the concept is captured in the phrase, rising tide, it will lift all ships. So if you can engineer a way of lifting the tide, not only for yourself, but for others, that's a very good thing because it creates a network where people are growing. And this is excellent in academic, if it's in business, if it's in the corporate world, wherever you find yourself, it's almost always the case that people can benefit from opportunities to grow. So if you can be a part of the improvement of not only yourself, but building others, that's also something you really should invest your energies, your resources, your intellect in. Another thing you want to improve are your habits. Your habits are extremely important because it helps you regulate how and what you do maximally. It allows you to determine how your resources, not only your time, but your attention, your focus, all that, how it is utilized as you try to acquire your goals and your targets. If you have bad habits, it will literally rob your future potential. If you have good habits, it tends to scaffold and support your success going onwards into the future. When you're younger, it's really important that you spend time working on developing good habits because when you achieve your intended target, it buoys you up. It gives you the kind of surge that will keep you going. But if you have bad habits, it's like taking your resources and dumping it into something that will not give you good outcomes or rewards. So it's almost good to always audit yourself. Watch yourself as if you're someone you don't trust. Document where you're falling off, what you're spending too much time doing that's not of benefit to you, and see how over time you can scale back those actions and focus on things that allow you to do more of what you enjoy, more of what will help you grow, and more of what will help others grow maximally. One of the things I typically say to myself, I say, I want to walk in such a way that if others were to follow in my footsteps, they would actually find themselves in a better place. And if you have these basic tenets driving you, these basic tenets driving the things you do, it helps to keep you accountable not only to yourself, but to others. The third is performance. Performance matters because outcomes matter. Examinations are performance-based. Most tests you will do in life are performance-based. Your salary, in some instances, are performance-based. your profitability, your income generation potential. Many of these things are performance based. You need to figure out what are you investing your time in doing and how can you optimize it to produce maximally. What this looks like. In some instances, it may be that you need to figure out how to set up a schedule that allows you to spend more time on things that give you the kind of reward or outcomes that you desire. It may mean that you need to sleep a bit more. It may mean that you spend a lot less time on social media or activities that have no real value added to the long-term plans for your life. Not everything is long-term, but I can tell you, your micro routines are very important. The things that you do every single day. What time you wake up? What time do you eat? Whether or not you prepare your meals overnight for the next day, or you're waking up in the morning trying to get through everything. Whether or not you iron your clothes for the week or for the month, or you're trying to find clothes to wear to work the morning off, or to school the morning off. Whether you do your assignments or your projects or your targets, if you get these done in a timely manner, or you're trying to operate under crisis when the deadline is looming. All these things, you have to figure out a way not to tyrannize yourself. You have to treat yourself as if you're someone that you actually care for and actually want to be around for a long time. And if you start treating yourself in that way, it will help you regulate many of the bad habits and focus your energies into optimal activities that produce good outcomes. Keep in mind, especially if you're parents as well, you're walking in a way that your offspring will follow. They have all the genetic material from yourselves, and that has sway over what they become. But also, it's not only about nature, it's about nurture. So the environment that you provide, the steps, the footsteps that you leave behind, the way you walk, the way you talk, the things you do, how structured your environment is, they are copying that and they're utilizing that to frame their lens of how they see the world and how they will travel through it. So it's important that we not only think of our journey as our journey, but it's a collective journey within the family, within the society, within the nation, within the world. We have to figure out that we're all a part of a network and what we do matters. No matter where we are in society or within the family structure, our actions matter. And we can all agree, regardless of our belief systems, we can make the world a lot worse through our actions. So let us deliberately spend time trying to figure out how can I improve, whether it's person to person, whether it's within groups, whether it's within themes, whether it's within society. What talents are you given? There's this old adage that says, to whom much is given, much is required. And it makes sense, because there's nothing that you invest in that you're not hoping it gives you a yield or produces. If you've been into farming or if you've been into gardening, you plant seeds with the hope that it will produce and give you what you desire. Now, if you have spent time farming, you'll also know there's always competition for whatever it is. So your soil will always have weeds in it, trying to rob your intended crop of the nutrients. And this goes right across every aspect of your life. No matter what you're trying to do, there are going to be things. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be issues. There are going to be failure. There are going to be obstacles. There are going to be people standing in your way. There are going to be circumstances trying to prevent you from prevailing. But one of the things to remember is smooth is not always good. If you're trying to climb an incline or a steep slope in a car and it's too smooth and your tires can't grip, you have no traction, you can't move forward. It's the same thing in your personal life. You have to figure out, how much challenge can I persevere? Because that challenge allows you to stretch yourself and to grow. Plants grow towards the sun in most cases because they're stretching themselves. They're challenging themselves to be more than the seed that they originally were. And it's the same thing as humans. It does not help to try to remain in the same space. You have to stretch yourself. You have to see the challenges sometimes as opportunities, as stepping stones for you to move forward. So regardless of what 2020 has tossed your way, let's use it as the foundation, as the building blocks, as the launch pads for 2021. And in closing, we're looking at strategy. Now, strategy in its simplest form are just plans. Plans of how you will treat with your reality. You have to be realistic about what you intend to do. It's unrealistic for you to do what you can't, or say you're going to target things that are well outside your abilities at this time or the resources. What you intend to do has to be within reason, because what it does, it allows you to, as you progress, you get the reward of the micro success. The micro routines will yield micro success. That will give you the kind of dopamine surge that will keep you feeling positive about engagement in the particular activity. So whether it's study, whether it's work, whether it's teamwork, whatever it is, ensure that you have a plan of how it should look, how it should work, so you can figure out as you progress through it whether or not you're gaining the kind of ground that you intended. And the strategy also has to have built into it the ability to renegotiate, to change your sail to catch the wind. Because you may have a path that you're traveling down. 2020 was full of many plans. I'm sure at the start of 2020, people had all kinds of resolutions about what they were going to do, where they were going to go. And what got tossed away coming from like February onwards has been a game changer for so many. Fiscally, job-wise, family-wise, travel. I've had so many trips that we had planned as a family that have been canceled just because we no longer have full control over the variables. In the same way that it presented itself with challenges, we still used our strategy of coping, of responding to chaos, to trying to figure out how can we still make use of the time. We found courses to do online. We found ways of working online in a meaningful way that gave maximal outcomes. So always keep in mind, you need to have a strong plan. You need to have strategy. You need to set up a schedule, one that doesn't tyrannize you. It's something that you can repeat comfortably every day, because that's important. You don't want to tyrannize yourself, right? The concept of reciprocity. Always try to help others. It's okay to want to look out for yourself, but one of the key things that this universe entails and this world entails, if you look at thematic outcomes throughout history, when people set out to help others, it always gives very good outcomes in the long term. It works much better than a plan for self, because a plan for self slowly becomes just selfish, self-centered, and it does not necessarily incorporate itself into a social point of view. You want to always make sure you're thinking of others when you make your decisions, when you make your plans, because you are a part of a network, whether it's a network of family, of a job structure, of a society. We're all connected to others. So our actions matter, our plans matter, our decisions matter, and we have to make sure at all times that we think not only of ourselves, but how it impacts others. Always deliberately try to add value to others. If you see an opportunity that you can pass to someone else, do everything you can to make it a reality. The truth is, we can all make the world worse. We can always make somebody's day extremely worse than it began. But in the same way, conversely, we can make it far better, whether it's a kind word, whether it's a smile, whether it's going out of your way to be nice or provide some kind of service that gives somebody a boost that they would typically not have. It may require some self-sacrifice. It may require you giving up some time that you had reserved for yourself. But spending time trying to make others happy and trying to provide and support others, it has long-term positive effects, not only for yourself, but for those that you seek to help. Because people will also engender that mindset, and it will have positive yield over the long term. So, in review, tips for 2021. Set your targets. 2, Always figure out what needs to be improved and spend time working on it and deliberately trying to add value. 3, performance matters. Outcomes matter. Invest your time in making sure you're able to measure your input and outcomes and see how you can adjust your systems and the variables so that it maximally improves over time. And lastly, but not least, strategy. Always have a plan. As a matter of fact, have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, because there's always the challenge and the unseen. You will always need to have a contingency. For 2021, coming out of 2020, it would make sense for us to always have a mindset of just always being able to find a way to plan. So thank you all for giving me audience. I hope this was useful, and I hope your 2021 is far removed from 2020, where you have just amazing experiences. They won't always be good experiences, but they're all opportunities for you to grow maximally. Have an amazing 2021. Thank you. My name is Steve Lawrence, and it was a pleasure sharing with you.